we're just here live really quickly, and so just taking a little time. I'm Scott Schumacher, and
I'm Rita Roberts.
This is the Cosmic Fixer channel, and so we're just sort of like seeing if anybody wants to come online really quickly. This is part of a live broadcast, so and if people watch it later, they're watching it later in their own time. So we just had a brief discussion about what is time anyway. So as people come on the chat or come on YouTube, say hi in the comments and let us know. I'll see that. I don't know if Rita will, but I'll see it at least. And then throughout this, if it's live, we'll field questions, but I have questions too. And so we'll just introduce us again. This is the Cosmic Fixer YouTube channel with Scott and Rita. And today we are talking about Rita Roberts' book that's now in print form called What It Means to Serve. So so this has been a kind of a long project for both Rita and I. She was sending me chapters one at a time for a while.
About a year ago.
A year ago, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, tell a little bit about that process.
This is something I did not want to do to start with. I didn't want to do it, and it just kept nudging at me as these messages kept coming to me. And so, eventually I relented. I figured, well, I can do it and just keep it as a file on my computer or whatever, or share it with Scott. And if it's only Scott and I who read it, then that's good. But I didn't have confidence that I was somebody who was going to channel a book. And I didn't really want to tell people that I was doing that either, just because of I just had to shed all the layers of preconceived notions about that. And they've still been coming at me since Scott was so kind to get the book printed. So, I would just sit down here where I am right now and get quiet and meditate a little bit. And then it was just, my fingers were just flying on the keyboard, and the chapters just unfolded. There are no edits. There's certainly no rearranging or perfecting anything. I changed a few words here and there because I felt that something was maybe I hadn't accurately chosen the right word the first time, but that's just very minimal. So the chapters just unfolded and sort of laid out what was coming in the next chapter just perfectly, and they're almost all the same word count. So you got to watch it all unfold.
Yeah, it was kind of exciting, and it was one of the cool things about that. Each chapter kind of flowed from the next, and so there's a little bit of like anticipation in each chapter. So that was kind of an interesting new thing, like having this as a channeled text and a channeled book, and it was a little more controversial with the it's a channeled text for coaches and healers. So
and it's slim. It's very slim, but it takes some effort.
It's 80 pages, but there's a whole lot of feels in the book. So if you want to say it that way, a whole lot of feels and a whole lot of challenging yet loving statements, I would say. So
sure.
And so we actually the cover is a painting by Rita Roberts, so she actually did this one, the painting, kind of like hesitantly. You almost like, scratched it off the canvas. And I said, no, it's so incredible. So, and it became the cover art for the book. So I was really glad she shared that with me because it kind of helped birth this whole project. So Yeah, Rita, do you want to just sort of give people a taste of the book by like reading a little bit of it? So.
Sure. Um, Actually, since we were talking about just getting started, maybe I'll just read a few lines from the introduction,
Cool.
and because yeah, there's stuff in there to talk about. Maybe we'll just make this a series of videos.
Sweet. Good.
Okay.
All right, take it away.
All right. So I wrote this after having channeled and transcribed all of the chapters and let them sit for a bit and waited until this was something I wanted to communicate with others. So this is the beginning. I hate to break it to you, but God does not play by our rules. Everything that the world has taught you, everything you think you know, it's probably wrong or at least needs some serious adjustment. God is only interested in dismantling everything that stands between you and your feelings, you and your soul, me and my soul, us and God. Go ahead, continue to resist your undoing with everything in you. Hold on to your beliefs and plans, the things you cling to for safety and a sense of belonging. God will say, we can do this easy or we can do this hard. Either way, it will be done. So I think you have some things to say about that, Scott.
Yeah. Just that first part is the whole. We've talked about this before, and the idea that I think our world and the people in the world are destined for a big breakdown, and maybe those of us have already gone through that. You know, I'm not putting myself above or anyone, but those of us who've gone through that maybe and continually welcome breakdowns. I hope my vision is that we're going to have a little easier time when when a lot of crap just hits the fan on Earth, and we live in a time of facades and people putting up masks, and even like I think credentials can sometimes be masks. They fool us. They're these disguises that also fool us when we believe them. We're a doctor or we're a lawyer or a therapist or this, and so therefore I have to be this and put on this mask and put on this face for a while. And generally I think that also just sort of separates us from other people, and it gives us a lot of rope in which to experience our own breakdown eventually. So, but one of the parts in there, let me find that line that really got me. God is only interested in dismantling everything that stands between you and your feelings, you and your soul. I mean, that's probably one of the hardest hitting statements of the whole book. Would you agree?
Yeah, and it became very clear. Like I sort of knew that before, but became very clear by the time I had typed. What are there 12 chapters? I don't even know. Something like that, 11 or 12.
Yeah.
But that became like really clear. And the cover art is the painting that I did, not even knowing the book was coming. No, the book was already typed, but having no idea I was painting this for the book. And like Scott said, it was wet. I looked at it. It was just challenging me. And I was about to scrape it off. That's how much it just unnerved me.
I was so glad you sent that to me, because you sent it to me and just had this huge impact. I think I said something like, my soul is racing and firing right now. It's like I feel like this there's like unquestionably present. Like if you were to put this in a room, it would demand attention. It was, so that was I said this reaction is perfect. So so yeah, it was. And what's the name of the painting?
Prepared to be.
So
Before I started, but yeah, once it was there, I was not prepared to be undone.
yeah, prepare to be undone, and which kind of like is that the whole theme of the book for some. There are a few that we gave some promo ebooks to, and they were like, oh my gosh, I love it. So there were a few reactions like that, but what were some of the other reactions that you got from the book?
Oh, just sort of suggestions to edit. It's loaded with opportunities to set the book down and feel whatever you're feeling, having read the last few paragraphs. And so the spirits who were speaking through me, they just kept encouraging, knowing the reader would be reading it, encouraging them to stop, feel what they're feeling, and if need be, put the book down for a day or several weeks, depending on how long you needed to feel that, but just feel through it. So people were irritated by that. And always people who have spiritual labels attached to them.
I was just about to say that. It was mostly, I remember when I was sharing this with some folks, we would get things like, well, that's a nice book, or, but I'm following this path, and so you should read this person. So it was like that was kind of a reaction sometimes that spiritual people would send us, is kind of a redirect to give a little compliment, but they wouldn't necessarily dig into the book. So it was a redirect. And then one piece of comment was, I was really annoyed with having to feel, it's that idea of feeling my feelings and stopping and starting all the time. And this was from someone who is really highly spiritually evolved. So that was like one of the early feedbacks too. And I'm really glad that we both took that feedback as kind of like, wow, we could have taken that feedback of like, well, maybe we need to edit it. But no, we actually had a discussion, and it was like, this is the feedback that we need to have. This is kind of like, there are not very many books out there that actually speak some truths that really butt up against people's comfort zones. And even people who are like in the spiritual realm, like whether it's the New Age or whether it's Catholic nuns or priests or whatever, it was, we kind of pressured on, and that was, I think we started seeing that. We almost expected that kind of a reaction when we shared the book with people who...
Which is why I didn't want to do it in the first place, because I was, concerned, attached, whatever, about what the reaction would be.
Yeah, and so I actually now bless it all. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Those reactions are... because I think it actually shows how much of it doesn't matter where you are in life. Many times, many of us have this gulf between us and our soul and our connection to God, who really just wants to push all this stuff away. Mm-hmm. Your credentials, your licenses, your masks, I'm a shaman, or I'm a guru, or I'm a whatever, and really just push this away, and really let's just dig into how you're going to serve yourself, God, the planet. And
it's kind of comical that I was like in the opposite feeling of, no, I am not this. Whereas others are, yes, I am all this. Therefore, read it and heed the words. And I'm just like, well, here it is. I have my own reactions to it and difficulties with it, and we're all in this together.
Yeah. I want to read a little bit from, there's a chapter in here about the true meaning of service, and it kind of starts getting into this other concept you have of the black hole of consumerism, but it kind of alludes to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to read a little bit here, and it's chapter 4, the true meaning of service, a little bit of that. What do I do if no one wants what I offer? That's Rita's question. And then they would come back, would God give you gifts that are of no use? No. If no one is attracted to what you're doing, or no one values it, you might as well be shining your light toward the black hole. It will be consumed and discarded before it can be valued. You may be throwing your gift away by asking consumptive addicts to see your gifts and declare them valuable.
Yep. How's that for a carnival mirror?
So it's been kind of like, I view this as kind of like this is just me. I'm not doing this because I'm on video, but I kind of view this as kind of a guidebook that I go back to time and time again. And as you and I both have talked about, when you read it again, it's almost as if the words change, or there's a little bit of a difference, or you pick up on something new, and it doesn't follow like the normal book. So you actually, when you have to stop and feel these things, you actually feel different things the different times you read it. So,
Right.
and that's. I almost feel like I need to read it again now.
Yeah, I'm having the same feeling.
So,
and someone said, which I think is a great quote, it's not just a book, it's an experience.
yeah.
It's multiple experiences.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of hope in the chapters too, and there's like a whole the whole chapter of like starting over.
Yeah.
I really like that. So even hope so there's concepts that come in there, like what is the love economy? Love economy is in there. There's a concept of this black hole of consumption, and why do we want to like throw our gifts into this black hole that will just throw us back? Judgment. We had to learn a lot about judgment.
Oh my.
We're still learning about judgment.
I got a big lesson just this week. It's great.
Yeah, and so it's almost as if like every time that you like share this book with other people, it's like that whole idea of judgment. It's like, get ready.
Mm-hmm.
I am just going to be here to be a witness to the judgment that's flowing towards me. Because, well, number one, channeling.
Mm-hmm.
That's if you dig into some people who are on certain sides of Christianity, which we talk about God, and I think this is very, and faith and things like that in here. So, but it's not for fundamentalists, let's say that, or
well,
maybe it is.
Yeah, someone, and we're not making fun. We're just pointing at the misconceptions and contradictions. For instance, someone said that the idea of channeling was just cliche, and she didn't like that, and it should be more novel form. And the very next week, she was going to a chapel in Europe where multiple visitations have occurred, and that makes it a holy place. So, but we're so really brainwashed that the contradiction there just did not compute, and that's okay.
Is it channeling? I mean, even the divine word of the Bible.
Yeah,
we could argue that is a channeled text.
Mm-hmm. Right.
People who received, those words from angel spirits, God.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, we have to learn a lot about judgment.
Yeah.
um,
And it's good. It's good to have it come at you so many times that you no longer care.
it's kind of like a nice witness too. I sometimes I forget that, yeah, there is judgment in this world. Like we put on these. I live in Minnesota, for goodness sakes. The home of, Minnesota nice, which is really kind of passive aggressive at times.
Yes. Hello, Nebraska.
I know, originally from Iowa, so we're a little more truthful in Iowa. But yeah, it's so sometimes like, you forget that, yeah, there is this separation that's almost just like innate, and it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
So it's good for me as a reminder, like every time I kind of like share information about this book and some of the concepts, and it's you get the crooked look, the crooked eyebrow, or the that's interesting, or
Huh.
so it just points out this conditioned world to make a judgment response. So I'm not saying everyone is like that, but sometimes I forget, and so it's there's a lesson in there for us. I think there's a huge lesson in there, and I'm not one to like even shut off that judgment anymore. I don't want to shut it off. I don't want to block people's judgment, because maybe
Absorb it.
yeah, absorb it. Maybe it's a learning experience for everyone and for them as well too, to actually feel it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do kind of. It's not really a warning, but a gentle. I don't even know what to call it. A gentle advice that once you pick it up, make a conscious choice that I really don't want to learn what's in here, and be honest about that. Otherwise, it's going to work on you. So
Can
be
make it
warned.
easy or make it hard. So
Right.
yeah, and
And it's gonna. And if you choose to let it work on you, then great, because it will work on you.
it will work on you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm, and that's why I think it's one of the most. I'll just tout you like this. I think it's one of the most brilliant books in print now. And the reason why it's not gaining in such like bestseller popularity is because it's one of the most brilliant books on the market.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I don't take any credit. I just. All right, I'll do it. That was my contribution. And Scott, the wonderful contribution of actually getting it printed and
yeah, I
everything.
did the book format and layout. It's self-published. It's through a self-publishing house. But I did all the technical, I guess the technical lifting.
Mm-hmm.
So and then we like just got some spelling and grammar edits, and I changed some of those too, and made sure the layout was appropriate for printing. And I did get a chance to write the foreword and the epilogue, so that was fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. The epilogue wasn't in the first version of the draft that we shared with people, so we had to kind of like learn through people's reactions and comments, and so the epilogue actually talks about people's reactions. So it's really kind of cool, just to in the process of like just getting the book published.
Yeah.
So
Lots of learning in doing this.
yeah.
And I like that we're sort of just covering all of that, and it would be very cool if there are some viewers of this who are now curious what their response would be if they go ahead and buy a copy.
Yeah, actually, let me put that on the screen. I can make a little banner that says something. Oh, that's something different. Hide that one. But actually, it's an easy thing to find. It's whatitmeanstoserve.com. Just the title,
Yeah.
whatitmeanstoserve.com. We'll put it in the description of the video when it's up on YouTube and everywhere else. So it's you can also buy it on Amazon. It's now on Amazon if that's a place that you go to shop. So we kind of have a joke that we're like allowing for the big black hole of Amazon to be transformed. We put a book there
Mm-hmm.
in its little spiral vortex. So eventually Amazon will have some love and truth injected somewhere. So why not? Just it's all about alchemy. So we're not going to just avoid something because we have a judgment like that. So let's transform it. Let's and hey, all the better. So you might get a discount at Amazon. If you go to whatitmeanstoserve.com, Rita gets a little bit more for the book. So so that's always nice. So support your authors. Support them directly. So
and we do accept donations on circularsoul.biz.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we do on the What It Means to Serve website.
We'll accept donations. Contact us and we'll do that. So, but yeah, we need to like put something on there, donate as well.
Because we love to keep sharing and just letting all this come through and having the funds to put it out in the world.
Yeah, I mean it's more like keeping the roof over our heads going so that we can actually have these things funded. So it doesn't cost much to actually go ahead and do the process. Oh, hi Jordan. So we've got a viewer. That's cool. Good. So it doesn't really cost much to do the printing. It's time consuming, and it gives authors a little perk when you actually buy their books and they see the stats and you're like, oh, okay. So, and we're wholesale. If you want to just drop a line there, what it means to serve, and you want multiple copies, there's a contact form there, and we can actually get you discounted copies, like 10 or more, if you wanted that for a book club or church group. Church group would be fun.
That would be fun.
Or if you teach a class in Reiki, or if you're owner of a massage school or any sort of spiritual school or meditation center, this would be kind of a fun book group discussion book.
Yeah.
So book club book. So Jordan, since you joined us, yeah, you have a question. What's the live video about? We're talking about Rita's book, What It Means to Serve. So it's a channel text that she wrote for healers and therapists and coaches and healers. Basically
for everyone, but since they are in the business of healing and working with people.
Anybody who really has that inkling to want to be a healer or to be a helper, to get in the helping professions and to actually make a difference. There are some really cool. What is the one in here? Is like something about something I hate to break it to you. Here's the secret you must all embrace. I am feeding off the suffering of others and their desire to be cared for, and I like it that way. It's a well-constructed, highly admired pedestal for me to stand on, so no one can ever see my secrets. So it is a little bit of a cautionary tale, too, for anybody who kind of gets into this work, to say, let's really examine your feelings about you and your soul.
What are your motivations? Yes.
And if your motivations aren't necessarily clean or to serve, I think the book really talks about you'll, like it said, we can do this easy or we can do this hard, and to welcome those breakdowns and undoing everything so that you and your soul don't have obstacles between you.
And when you allow that, you just become more and more and more of a loving channel yourself of healing, of helping, of serving.
Right. And so it's a little easier that way. There are some challenges. People talk about how am I going to make a living doing this if I'm just serving? So there were some challenges you felt through, even through this book,
Mhm.
which I think is really, I it was honest. So in your dialogue with the channeled audience, you were very honest in saying, well, that's fine. How do I make a living? Or,
Right. Love is great, but it doesn't pay the rent.
um, and then what about my friends? What are they going to think? And then, simply they said, well, your friends can serve too. So that there are some real gems in here. I really think that this unfolded, what, in the matter of 2 weeks, a week,
Yeah,
9 days?
10 days. Yeah.
And I was receiving a chapter a day for 10 days, and it was just like, just a stream that came out.
Right. Kind of a crash course. Just one thing after another. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Rita's an author. So, and
Yeah.
I'm an editor
Right. And a publisher.
and a publisher. So, look what happens when you allow this. So
Mm-hmm.
look what could happen when you understand, okay, maybe I'm here to serve something outside of myself. So,
Yeah.
and that's what I think this really is. It's a real gem to kind of like, for people who are really maybe looking for what's outside myself and what can I tear away from my own masks and my own being, so that I can maybe have a little better understanding of the world, where we're going, or at least just like feel all my feelings.
Yeah, at least that.
At least that. We have other videos we could make about where the world's going, where we're going, and all of that. So that's another topic. But
Yeah.
so thank you, Jordan, for joining us, and yeah, come back and watch the whole video. It'd be great. So,
And if you have questions, put it in the YouTube comments and we will answer.
yeah, totally. We'd love that. So, anything you want to wrap up with, Rita?
I think this will be a good topic to just do snippets of the book as a kind of a series. And, eventually maybe we'll do a book club gathering.
I think that sounds fun.
Yeah.
We're making this up as we go.
Yeah, we have no plan.
What we've always done. So if you look back at our channel, even from the beginning, we had no idea what we were doing, but yet we actually just trusted a process of, speaking in the future, and then speaking from soul in the future, and now we're still just riding that wave. So it's probably like I think I said something earlier today, business, that's for amateurs. So
right.
It's a lot different now. So, but yeah, I think it'd be fun to do snippets and chapters, and we'll do a book club. So we'll see. That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Rita. Thank you for the book. Thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks to everybody who is watching and joining. So have a great day. Take care, everybody.
Bye.